Hi everyone. In this video, we will see how to complete Milestone 2 project. I have already launched the lab, and once you launch lab successfully, this is the page you will be landing. So here you have the instructions, and then this is the browser tab where you will be accessing your lab. There are some pre-populated user accounts are there. Just don't worry about them. You're supposed to use another account because the credentials are given in this instruction. You can find the credentials under this particular section called resources tab. You can go and find this username and password. The same thing is even repeated in the instructions as well. So you can go through these instructions for your understanding. So the first task, what we perform in this particular challenge lab is creating Azure Virtual Network using Azure Portal. See here, the ultimate objective of this particular lab is to test your skills on various ways what you can use to create virtual network. Yes, Azure Virtual Network is a service in Azure Cloud, and that can be created using multiple ways. The one way is using Azure Portal, and we can do the same thing using some commands also through CLI, like PowerShell commands we can use for creating Azure Virtual Network. Similarly, we can also use Azure CLI. And these are the three tasks you will be performing in this particular lab. Okay, let's begin. So we need to first sign into this Azure portal. So don't select any of this account and don't select your provided account also. Use another account and copy using this particular clipboard. Just press and come back here. And here, if in case some data is selected, you can just delete it and say Control V. So by this, you can copy paste it here. And then next, here we need to key in the password. So I'll copy, come here, right click and paste, or Control V, both will work, and say sign in. So this will log me in. If in case, if you're not getting a normal page like this, and if you're getting a different page, in that case, what you can do, you can just go sign out, and then you can sign in. So while signing, which account you want to sign out? So the select account where you want to get signed out, and use another account again and try to log in. So let me copy this, come back here, paste it, and say next, and then give the password. Yes. If in case when you log in for the first time and if you're not getting a kind of screen this, and if you're getting a different screen, so in such case, you can sign out and sign in, and that error will not persist. Okay, this is how you successfully log in. And then the thing is, first task, we have to start that creating an Azure Virtual Network by using values in the following table. So you have to create Azure Virtual Network using portal, and what all the values you're supposed to use are given here. If in case you want, you can even expand this particular hint. This is guided challenge lab. Okay. And you can go through this statement and then you can create this Azure Virtual Network. Let me just go and search for virtual network. So either you can go and come to this particular location by a separate navigation, but this is the way I go. So we are right now in virtual network. Now let's create a virtual network. And this is the resource group I have to select. So already the resource group is selected by default. If in case, in your case, if it is not selected, just use this drop down menu and select this. Next is virtual network name. So let me copy paste it just to avoid some typo error. And then the region to be selected is East US 2. Make sure that you are selecting the proper region. Let me search for US and East US 2. Perfect. And then we can go to next, or directly you can go and select IP addresses. That will take you to the necessary tab. in here, like we need to edit the cider block. By default, it comes as 10.0.0.0, but let's change it to 10.1.0.0. Okay, fine. Then we need to delete the default subnet. It's quite simple. Just press this button. It will delete the default subnet. And let's add a subnet. For that, add a subnet. And on the add a subnet blade here, we need to give the name of the subnet as production. So by default, it comes default. Let's change it to production. And in the IP address, it should be 10.1.0.0/24. Yes, it is selected. And then we can say add. And then review create and create. So we need to wait this VNet creation to become successful. And once the VNet is created successful, we are going to add some extra address space. And that is going to be our next task. Add extra address space. That is 172.16. Okay, the virtual network got created. Let me get inside this virtual network. And in here, let me go to address space. So you can see that one address space is reflected here because that is what we have used. Now we can go and add additional one. So for that, we need to, again, if you want, you can just use this particular hint and give the extra address space what you need and then click on save. Don't forget to click the save button. If not, that changes what you did will not come into effect. Okay, fine. It's created. Now let's go and add one more subnet. Right now, we only have one subnet. Let's add another subnet called development. For that, plus subnet and the name to be development. And then the address is that we need to choose the new address range, that is 172.16. So for that, just go here. Okay, so sometimes what will happen, whatever the modification you have done, will take little time to come into effect. So it came, let me just try to visit the subnet once again. And I'm just repeating the steps what I did before. I'll go to subnet. Let me verify. Yeah, it is visible now. Okay, so I'll just go and rename the development. And then the address range I should select from the second range. And in here, it should be 172.16.1.0/24. And that's it, add. I hope we have done all the steps according to our first task. It says successful. Let us check this. Let us verify this. So the address and then the name, what you're supposed to give while creating any resource must be matching what is given in the instruction. If not, this checking process might fail. But with respect to role-based access control, the custom role what you have created, even though you have created perfectly, it might take 5 to 10 minutes to get it verified successfully. But that may not be the case here in this particular lab. Fine. So by this, you end your first task. So as usual, you have to take this screenshot on the right, sorry, on the left, your lab, and on the right to your instructions, and you will be adding any kind of sticky notes to say that this is the work done by you. And now let's continue with the next step. next task, and that's again same, creating virtual network, but this time using PowerShell. So open Azure Cloud Shell without mounting a storage account, use the existing subscription. So for that, let's go and click on Cloud Shell. If in case you can't see this, okay, in case, so what you can do is, yeah, you might get it here. So maybe if in case my screen resolution is good so that I can see the better view of Azure Portal UI. If in case your screen resolution is small, you might get similar to this so that you have to go to this ellipses and you can get the cloud shell. But for me, this is good. So I'll just go with this view itself. I can see my cloud shell here itself. I'll click on cloud shell and use PowerShell. No storage account required because without mounting a storage account, that's what. If in case you want to see, you can just expand this hint and go and verify. See, no storage account required. And then the subscription, if you click and you can select the only subscription what is available and say apply. By any chance, if you fail to do this step properly, in such case, you can go to settings and you can reset the user settings, and then it will start again from the beginning. That's just for your knowledge purpose. If in case while following these steps and you fail to do some of them, in such case, you can just reset it. That's it. But we have done everything perfect. Let's continue. Once command prompt appears, we can start executing commands. The next thing is create a VNet named VNet2 in the resource group given. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is like we need to run some commands. Let's go and get that command from here. So what is a command? Virtual network is equal to, we have to get the virtual network VNet2. Okay, fine. So let me copy this particular command and paste it. So virtual network is equal to new AZ virtual network. We are going to create a new virtual network, and in the resource group specified at the location East US2, and the name of the VNet is this, and then the address side block what is given is this. So let us wait for some time because this might take a couple of seconds to get succeeded. And once we get success message, we can go ahead and execute the next command. Again, so here creating a virtual network and modifying its configuration is using PowerShell commands. And next thing is that we need to retrieve VNet2 and do some modification. So let's get the ID of this VNet, what we have created. Yes, now we will go and add some subnets to this particular VNet. So in command prompt, this is how we do. So first we need to get the virtual network in which we want to do some modification, and that's available in this variable or object. And now we'll go and do some modification. So for that, let's go and run this command. So we're going to add a subnet. The subnet config is that adding a virtual network subnet with the name production. Okay, on the virtual network, what is pointed by this particular object. So that object is pointing to VNet2, simple. Hit enter. Again, one more command, write a subnet configuration to VNet2 by using a set virtual network command. So now we have to set virtual network so that the added subnet will be reflected to this particular virtual network. And once this command gets executed, if in case you want, you can just go and check here. Like let's go to virtual network. This is additional. If you want, you can do it. You can see that VNet 1 and VNet 2. So VNet 1 we created using Portal. VNet 2 we created using PowerShell. You can go and see the created subnets also. So we created a subnet, right, using this particular command. We just added a subnet configuration, and actually we created the subnet using this particular command. Now let me verify this. Obviously, it should not throw any error. All my checks must be green ticked, means successful. And again, you paste your name here and take screenshot of this entire screen, like your lab as well as the instructions. Perfect. Now, next move on to the last task. So in here, you can just close this, or let me check once. Create a VNet, that is VNet 3. Okay, using Azure CLI commands. Still, we have PowerShell command, so we can just leave it as it is and we can run this command again. So this is AZ network VNet create. So this is CLI command. Previously, what command we used is PowerShell command. So both are little different. So this is going to create a VNet 3, everything included. So slightly the CLI command usage and then the PowerShell command usage will be different. And in here, what are we doing is that we are creating a VNet with the name VNet 3 in this resource group by adding a subnet directly here itself, that is production, and the location is East US 2. I hope everything is done. Then now we can check our work. So this should not throw any error. Meanwhile, when this getting verified, you can just go to your virtual network and refresh once. You can see VNet 3. So totally there are 3 VNets getting created. So as I was telling in the beginning, so the objective of this particular lab is to test your skills on creating virtual network using various methodologies or tools. Like we use 3 tools: Portal, PowerShell, and CLI. Yes, everything is perfect. Now when okay, you have to take a screenshot of the screen, and then if you go to next, and then when you try to submit, you definitely get 100% grading here. Yes, that's it. Thank you, everyone.